Justin Hawkins writes again. My YouTube channel, please like, subscribe. Forgive me, I have some remnants of an apple that I was chewing remaining in my mouth. But that's, you know, that's just the way it is. Rock and roll. So, speaking of rock and roll, so the person that I'm going to be talking about now is Gayle, Gayle. She has a song out, and it's called abcdefu. So just at the last minute, it turns a corner into, well, fuck you, basically. Fuck you is a brilliant expression for songs. Remember that song that CeeLo Green had that was called Forget You? I remember when that first came out as a lyric video, and it was called Fuck You. And it was a really concise and beautiful song that expressed that emotion perfectly. It was just brilliant. And then they ruined it by saying Forget You. All that stuff that happened afterwards was horrible, I thought. It was much more, it was truer. It was just a truer song. And I found out about that just because it was people sharing it on the Facebook. Everyone was excited. Oh, it says fuck you in it. And I think Gayle has found a way to use fuck you, the expression, in exactly the same way as the triumphant finale to, like, I don't know, it's one of those songs where there are many tropes, songwriting tropes within it that probably warrant an episode of Justin Hawkins Writes Again many times over. Like, check this out. So I'll start from the beginning and I'll react to each bit as we go. Okay, so the video starts off with a red screen and it just says, "Me and my friends visit my ex's house." Should that be my friends and I? Is that deliberate? Is that the vernacular? Are we trying to connect with a younger audience that perhaps belong to what we call the spell check generation? Yes. Fuck you and your mum and your sister and your I think the idea of it is that they've tried to make the sort of the rhythmic meter of the vocal top line something that resembles a na-nanny boo-boo. I call it a na-nanny boo-boo. You know, na-nanny boo-boo. Which is great. I mean, that's it's a brilliant way to put an idea across. And then they've combined that with another trope that I've used myself before, and lots of other songwriters have. Some of the best songwriters have used it. The list. It's a list of things. It's you, fuck you, and your mum, and your sister, and your job. Fuck your job. And your broke-ass car. Yeah, fuck the car. Good point. And all that shit you call art. Okay, I like that line, that's cool. Fuck you and your friends that I'll never see again. See, this is when it breaks away from the list. And your friends that I'll never see again. See, it develops then. She starts to elongate the lines in the second half of the first verse. Everybody but your dog, you can all fuck off. Okay, so it starts off with a list just to pull you in. It's easy. You just add to the list. You can make your own list if you like. But it has to end with fuck off. Because I think that's how this works. I think the fuck off or the fuck you is the crescendo of every section of the song. I'm saying that having just heard the first verse. If I had to guess, I would say that the chord sequence is going to be the same throughout, and it's this. But I might be wrong. Even tried to bite my tongue when you start shit. Shit. It's pretty cool because the shit isn't supposed to be as emphatic as the fuck, so she throws it away like a when you start shit. It's nice actually. Since I never even liked you in the first place. But the place is thrown away in a different way. She throws it upwards and it doesn't rhyme with anything. So what is that just supposed to? I think it makes you think about that line more, you know. So I think that's the one that's like. That's going to hurt him the most, the antagonist. This is obviously her addressing an ex. They never even liked you in the first place. The whole track drops out and she says place in a sort of, with an upwards thing. And then it's like, huh? They never liked me? They got that. It's got one of those production tricks where it goes. It's like Timberland or somebody in the background is going. Sounds like her grandmother's in the room, just sort of like, what? I never liked you in the first place. Maybe it's that. A built-in reaction. Dated a girl that I hate for the attention. She only made it 2 days. What a connection. It's like you'd do anything, but she says it in such a relaxed way that it's anything. So I think she's putting across the idea that she doesn't care. It's all over. It's all done. Yeah! And then her grandma comes back in again with a... What's that? This is the pitfalls of COVIDian recording. You have to do it at home in your bedroom, and sometimes your nan's going to be calling up the stairs. So it suggests that it's in this key. Which I think is C sharp minor. It's the third chord that appears in the sequence, and the sequence goes all the way through. So if it's in that key, you could also do it in. You could also have a melody that's in E major, but I suspect it might be too happy for her to do that. Could be in G sharp minor, but it doesn't linger on that chord very much. And this one is the relative minor of the first chord. So if you're going to do something that's sad, you want to do it the relative minor of the opening chord, and also the one that appears halfway through as well. So you could have a phrase repeated over this chord and this, which appears halfway through, and it would be effective in 2 different ways. Also, it allows her to sort of... If you do something that's like the second note of the C sharp minor scale, then you end up with this note. That's the major 7th of the first chord. Super happy. But it's the 5th of this chord. It's also the 2nd of this. And the 3rd is the root of this. So she's here for a reason, I think. It's here because it works with... there's pretty much endless capabilities for sadness, but in the context of this, it doesn't sound as sad. It sounds angry, I suppose. It jars just a little bit on this one and on this one as well, which doesn't resolve it properly. It needs to go back to the beginning, so that's why it rotates. And it's all this. So that's a descending. Is basically in A. That's just the major scale of A, and that's the last chord in the sequence. So I don't know what I'm saying about that really. It's the most simplistic way to resolve when you have that. So anything that's sort of sad and clever they do here, and anything that needs to be really resonant and land and in your heart, with like the big moments and the fuck yous and everything, happens on this chord. So they can do, basically it's a nursery rhyme. Let's test my theory. So you can see that within the chords, that's the 3rd of the first. It's that. It's that note in the first chord, which is E. This is reminding me of a Pixies song. What was that Pixies song that happens at the end of Fight Club? Let me have a look at the Pixies one. Where is my mind? They've swapped 2 chords around. Yeah, the Pixies song goes like that. And I think Gayle's one goes. I think that's minor as opposed to major on the second chord. But really they've just taken the Pixies Where Is My Mind, they've swapped the second and third chords around. Which is why when you hear this melody here, it reminds you of the Pixies, because it is basically what they play. That's almost a guitar lick, isn't it? But they've turned it into a vocal melody. I don't know. The Pixies one is kind of... is the Pixies. It's nearly the same. Which I think, you know, that shows that her and her writers have, you know, legit grunge sensibilities, because they're ripping off the Pixies. More or less. I mean, ripping off is a strong and probably litigious expression, which I won't use. So, you know, it's more inflammatory than saying "fuck you" in this day and age. But it is nearly the same as the Pixies. Let's put it that way. By some miracle of random coincidence, they've struck upon a chord sequence that's nearly exactly the same as the Pixies, and then chosen a vocal melody that's almost exactly the same as a really iconic piece of Pixies guitar playing that happens in the song "Where Is My Mind." But there's this additional note, which is a constituent of the last chord in both songs. Okay, so you hear a guitar in the first part of it. That sort of lends itself to the rock perception of this artist. But it's kind of abandoned by the time it gets to this. Okay, they're programmed drums with a synth bass line. Where you would, you know, if it was the 1990s and she was the Pixies, you'd hear a guitar, like a distorted guitar doing that most probably. Or the bass, a live bass guitar played by a human being with some distortion on it. That's not what you're hearing on this. The great thing about this is I'm not hearing any auto-tune on the voice. That sounds like a real performance, doesn't it? You can't do those kind of, unless you're really, really masterful on Melodyne, you can't really do those sort of glide downs and humanisms that she's got bags of in her voice. This is a real performance. I think if you saw her live, it'd probably be exactly like that. I like that line about fuck you and your friends and everybody but your dog. Because why bring the innocents into it, you know? Why bring them into it? So she's right to exclude the dog, I think. But the na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, I suppose that's a post-chorus tag. It sounds like it's part of the chorus because the chord sequence doesn't change at all. But actually, she said everything she wants to say at that point, and then it's just a little sing-along moment for everybody to celebrate the way she really stuck the landing on the f*** off. And then to reiterate the A, B, C, D, E, F off. And then the second half of the chorus is A, B, C, D, E, F, U. So that's the post-chorus, really. The chorus reverts to the list, and then you have the spelling exercise at the end, with a left turn at the end, just for the joke of it, really. But she's obviously upset, and 4 chords and the truth, maybe that's what this is. Maybe this is country music in its essence. I mean, I love stuff like this because it's got loads of attitude, but why isn't there a real band playing it? Why does it have to be like drum machines and that kind of almost technological approach to a hi-hat pattern and kick drums and synthesizers? What people with instruments can express this much more effectively. That's why a song like, you know, Where Is My Mind by the Pixies is always used in stuff. It's always in, well, it's at the end of Fight Club. It's in Trainspotting, isn't it, as well? I don't know. I feel like if she had human beings around her playing that music, it would land in a much more emphatic way. It'd be much more exciting to go and see her live. The guitar gets drowned out by synthesizers, and it didn't have to be like that. It could have been a real rock moment, you know. That's a production question as opposed to songwriting anyway. Let's have a look how it ends. Okay, so it's a dropout chorus, which is a repeat of the first verse, with a lyrical, a sort of a vocal flourish at the end to really sweeten the f*** off sentiment, and shows a bit of vulnerability. It's a great vocal, actually, all the way through. There's loads of nuance in the way she delivers all those swear words, and she really sticks the landing on the ones that matters. So I think ones that matter rather. So I think she's a star. Obviously, she's brilliant. I just wish she had real musicians around her and not these synthesizers and at the risk of sounding like a I know I'm a dad rock enthusiast, but it's hard for me to get excited about music like that because it doesn't have any. The music itself is what's the word? Doesn't have any guitars on the chorus, which is when you're supposed to have them really loud, isn't it? Shouldn't that be when the guitars take your face off? Imagine her saying A, B, C, D, E, fuck you, with a load of, 46-year-old men with guitars going, yeah. And then people would love that. They would love it. Rock and roll, baby. It will never die. Justin Hawkins rise again. What's that chord? Answers down there.